Hi, everybody. This is Don with the vlog of many things, and with me, it's Thursday night. You know what it means. We have,
Me, yeah, 10
you
car.
know, it's kind of
Sorry,
mixed up this
I'm
week.
discombobulated. I did 2 videos already today.
This help because it's an addiction. Down below me is,
Steve?
and
And
next
I'm
to me
Tom.
is, and we are not the Brady Bunch. Well, we're kind of like the
Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-ba-ba.
anti-Brady Bunch. Foogly, how you doing? Yes, you were waiting 2 minutes. Tom already reminded us, and Steve was like, "No, we get the video going."
The OSR Grognard bunch.
Thaddeus, how you doing? Oh, you know we're on now, though, Thaddeus. Yes, yes, yes. Uh, this week, besides stupid shit that Watsy does, which I'm sure there's something we can talk about, but um, yeah, there is something about the license, but we'll get to that. We're going to talk about a little bit about publishing. Edward, how you doing? And we're going to talk about some of the tricks and traps of publishing and some of the scams out there to beware. And we're not talking about Google Docs that UPS is hiring. Rod, how you doing? Tabletop Tap Room, how you doing? Wait, why are you commenting? You're in here. You can talk.
I'm just saying hello.
You're
In the
being
chat.
different.
Hello.
It's gonna be one of those nights. So, gentlemen, how's everybody tonight?
Good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
pretty good.
St. Clifford, how you doing, sir?
I'm recovering most of my range of motion from my knee surgery, so I'm really excited.
Good,
Had an eval today, and good numbers all the way around.
Nice.
good, good, good. Also, let you guys know because you guys don't know about this, we got quite a bit of email,
Really?
and there's no anonymous mail in this one.
Whoa. Time
Uh-oh.
out. Time out.
Yes, I know.
That's not in the realm of possibility.
There's one email by a person called Big Al that
Wait.
we'll get to that.
It
Let's see.
isn't like
Fugly
the
has a
Big Al I
question.
remember was Big Gay Al from what's South Park?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Well, hey, Fugly says, where is it? Does
Nobody
anyone
does
do smart
yeah.
shit? Is that a
Yeah.
thing? I mean,
Usually you have to have a PhD to do that.
yeah, we're all screwed there. Life experience, life experience. So I hope everybody in chat is in a happy mood today. Before we get into core subject, anything new in news in gaming, gentlemen?
I can give some quick summaries.
Sure.
Yes, look, WotC in their DMs Guild removed any reference to the open game license as a common way to publish for D&D. Take that for what it's worth.
So do you mean to tell me that what they're basically saying is that there's no longer an OGL and they're screwing all the gamers?
Well, no, they're not saying that. They're saying that they're not. They're pretending the OGL is something that you wouldn't want to use. It's not a common way.
Oh, who used written agreements?
They're playing little games of semantics.
Written agreements, Schmitten agreements. Who needs
Judges?
that?
Goodman Games announced that they were doing Judges Guild, City State of the Invincible Overlord remix. That landed like a ton of lead initially.
I was about to say.
Yeah, but Joe Goodman did put out a statement explaining that the license was acquired before Judges Guild shot the bed, and that the monies raised will be going to make the original backers whole, and original backers there'll be a backing level for the new Backer Kit project that will take into account prior backers. So he's doing the right thing.
Okay. Well, Mr. Cop says Gangbusters core game is available for purchase. The core game is available. GM screen is available, and along with that, the campaign setting is available.
Cool.
And I'm going to catch shit from this from at least 2 other people in this video, and probably some from chat for this. But we are also decided that we're going to take the core game and eventually convert it over also for 5e lovers. Sorry, they have a right to play the game too if they like 5e.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
I
that.
think it's a good business decision myself.
Basically, what you're doing is you're, I guess, adding advantage, disadvantage, and wait. It still takes place in like the 30s, right? There won't be any Starbucks barista adventures.
Nope, we're adding Starbucks, and we're going to also add Bigby coffees.
Big B's coffees and what was it? Morning Canaan's beef jerky. We're gonna have all these things.
I'm gonna get in trouble by my daughter because she's a manager at Starbucks.
We love her anyway.
Sorry, Alyssa. Deal with it. Let's see here. Let me see. Wizards are drunk again in the tower on the coast. That's what RPG Grandma says. So what? Okay, real quick. Then we'll get. This interests me about one thing. So they're basically removing the OGL from their game products.
No.
Okay.
See, now this is
Explain
the DM's Guild. So this is the one bookshelf way. They used to say, "Hey, you can get." There are 4 ways to write for D&D.
Okay.
One is to get a direct license from WotC,
which you're not going to get.
You're not going to get. Another is to use the SRD in the OGL. Another way is to use the Creative Commons in the OGL. And the 4th way is to essentially publish on DM's Guild because you can now use all of our IP. So what they initially did is they removed the OGL from that list and said there are 3 ways. But when they removed the OGL, the numbers were now 1, 2, and 4. Because whoever, I mean, just pure stupidity. So it seems like somebody wanted to just say, listen, let's pretend the OGL doesn't exist. So we don't want it to be, we don't want to encourage people to use the OGL. We want that to go away. So they're not saying you can't use it, but they're doing this.
Well, actually, there is a 5th way, and actually, Rod was getting ready to say what I was going to say, and that is, you can go ahead and buy a trademark that they let lapse, and you can squat on it and just go ahead and do it, and you sue them first because you're going to win $10 million from them.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Or
somewhere I heard that didn't go too well. Don't ask me.
$400,000. I don't know. Whatever.
And Rod, you're right. I apologize. We don't sue people. We sue at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sued. SUDE.
SUDE.
Sued. The sued dude.
Tom,
did you get a shirt from a fine gentleman in Michigan?
I do. I think I have a shirt right over here.
Thank God he's wearing pants.
I'm not. At any rate. All right. So basically what WotC's doing is WotC is doing the WotC thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. Now, dumb question. Yeah, that's a fine shirt. I need to make more of those.
There we go.
Nice.
Sued dudes.
So, if I understand this correctly, now Goodman Games.
Yes.
Explain a little bit better what they did.
Okay. In the Wayback Machine, CSIO is kind of like the first. 6 Days Invincible Overlord is the first setting for D&D. Essentially, it was the first, and it was well received back in the day. Back in the Wayback, I guess around 2020, the principles behind Judges Guild, the not the generation that were the creatives, but the generation that were the inheritors.
Yes.
Made some social media postings that were less than well received.
Yes.
And Goodman Games, who had a license to much of the products of Judges Guild, was making sure that going with the next project, the monies were not going to be going to Judges Guild.
They said
would be donated to.
They claimed.
Right. At least that's what they stated.
Okay.
So what happened, and they've done some projects since then that were Judges Guild IP, but the problem with CSIO is that you have nearly 1,000 backers who were out $85,000 looking at a company licensing a product from the company that fucked them over and putting out a new project. And I don't think my coverage had anything to do with the results that we saw. I do think that N-World's coverage might have been the tipping point. But Joe Goodman came out with an announcement today that was clearing up the muddied waters,
Mhm.
which honestly should have been day one. And it's that Judges Guild will be getting monies from this, but those monies are to make the original backers whole. It's to fund refunds. And that original backers will be accounted for in the backer kit when it launches in
Gotcha.
July. There will be a discount or some sort to acknowledge the original backers.
Gotcha.
Listen, Rod, I'm trying. I less than well received. Listen, if you watched my live stream from last night, we shared the social media posts of the original with our comments.
I apologize for missing your live stream, by the way, last night. Me and Mr. Lake were working on a thing called Author Tracker Pro.
Ooh,
Right, Steve?
Yep.
Steve, your video is locked up, my friend.
there you go.
Okay,
Okay.
now you're moving a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like watching a weird episode of like Star Trek: The Next Generation where data is frozen.
All right, publishing. Now, everyone here has had experience in publishing something, I take it,
Yes.
you know, and figure we maybe talk a little bit about publishing, talk a little bit about some of the positives, things to watch out for, and some of the scams that are out there. You know, just kind of, Mr. Lake likes this subject.
Monsieur Lake.
Now, publishing, game publishing and book publishing. Okay. Now, you and Tom and I last year, or a little bit before that, did Blades and Arcana.
Right. The light.
And yes, and right now that is under a large rewrite because it's being added to.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Steve has
even
published
plus.
how many books now, Steve?
Well, 29, 25 of which are still in publication.
Yeah. And I've got about 11 or 12. So the reason I wanted to talk about it tonight was because I saw something the other day in a writer's group that involved games. And it's kind of a new thing that people who publish games need to watch out for. And this has nothing to do with me starting publishing games. I mean, this is literally a scam that's going around. And what this guy's doing is he's offering layout services to people. And then what is going on is he's giving them a very good deal. He is taking their game and stuff, and then he adapts it, and then he puts it out under his own game company.
Mm.
And the problem with that is, and this is the problem,
Theft.
is that he knows that most people don't have a spare 100, 150 grand laying around to take him to federal court to get it stopped.
Right.
So, to make a long story short is always vet who you're dealing with. Always vet who you're dealing with. Because I see it so many times, people going, well, send me what you got and I'll give you my honest review, my honest opinion. Because people want opinions of people.
Right.
And unless they're really vetted and you know who they are and they're a legitimate company, I wouldn't do jack shit for them like that.
Well, I mean, don't you have a website for people to do like Yelp reviews of game
Yes.
publishers?
Yes, but the
Yeah.
problem with that is that people don't use it. And, along with that is that, people, I think what people do is they get embarrassed. They become embarrassed. Rod says something interesting. He said, that wouldn't be Ken Whitman, would it? I'm surprised he hasn't announced a new project in response to vulnerable publishers due to tariffs. No, he's actually still advertising for his stuntman movie production workshop camp.
Oh, my
By the way, would anyone like to know how much he charges for that for one weekend?
Too much.
Take a guess. Come on, this is going to be like You know what? Price is Right. We're going to spin the wheel. Guess the amount. Eric, how much?
1 weekend.
One weekend, and it comes with a barbecue Saturday night.
Oh, well, that just brought it over the top. I'm gonna say, I gotta do Price is Right pricing though. $9,999.
Tom, how
I
much?
was going to say $2,999.
Steve.
I don't know, $5,000.
Bing, 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 bing. $5,000.
That's a bargain at twice. No, it ain't a bargain. No.
No, it's not. $5,000, and you get to learn by some of the best stuntmen and directors in Hollywood that you've never heard of.
Well, now this is what, like Hollywood, Georgia.
It's down south, but that's the new hub for movie making, according to him.
It is actually Atlanta is pretty big.
Yeah, Walking Dead was filmed in Georgia.
Rod says related to him. Yeah, wasn't he like a stunt dumble zombie that carried like a ball peen hammer or something, and that's his claim to fame? Related to my
Brief
20
cameo
years.
one time in a Walking Dead film.
Oh, no,
You can
all right,
get
so
it.
now, all right. Let me give you a little bit of. Let's be accurate with IMDb. His
Okay.
first professional TV appearance was on the remake of MacGyver when they brought MacGyver back. He was some like suited security guard that gets hit with a stun gun.
That takes a lot of acting to go ahead and go "Bleh," and fall.
No,
on the bad shit.
I mean, I had to actually find that clip. And I went, oh, then he had the spot in The Walking Dead. He, I think he called himself the Axeman Killer or some shit. Whatever the hell
Whatever he called himself, it's 90% bullshit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he was trying to sell memorabilia from the show with certificates of authenticity that might not have been authentic.
Let me guess. This mason jar full of dirt.
Oh no, it was like somebody's like boots or something like that. Some female character.
Oh.
I stopped watching after like season 2.5 because I can only watch so much of the same mindless violence so many times.
Why? You read the news every day.
I mean, well, come on. I mean, let's face it. I mean, how The Walking Dead, I've watched very little of, but how many times can you kill zombies, get hit with a baseball bat with barbed wire on it, and run into other psychopathic survivors who want to do nothing but kill you to make more zombies, even though they're afraid of the zombies and trying to fight the zombies?
That's what psychopaths do.
Yeah, I'm not saying otherwise. I'm not disagreeing.
So, but oh man, I tell you what. Let's get in reader mail a little bit. Break up the monotony.
All right. Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's do
You
that.
ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Now somebody's popping open a
Actually,
drink. for
this
that
was
one.
kind of the first one was from a lady named Melissa from Bath, Michigan. And this is the reason why I kind of said this topic. She said, "Can you talk a bit about publishing scams? You all seem to know about publishing, and scams are something a lot of people seem not to want to talk about." So we just
don't know this show.
touched the biggest one. You know, okay. I'm gonna save Big Al for last. No, Big Al will be second from last. Trump 2028 MAGA Man 36 is going to be last.
Ooh, that's somebody with hair on their chest.
Yes, it is.
They glued it on, but it's hair on their chest. That's okay.
Okay, we're just going to call him out first. Because why? Because it's fun. Why
Okay.
not? Trump 2028 MAGA Man 36 from Texas is the best said this in his email. Do you think there's a market for a Trump role-playing game? Something like a political-based game. I prefer classic old school, and if so, why not? Remember, he is the president, so respect. Treason is words also. So, a Trump role-playing game, and be careful because it could be treasonous.
All right. Well, here. First off, everybody would be a shade of orange. All right. We'll just start with that. Are we designing it or are we debunking it? Is that what we're doing?
Hold on. Let me read this again. Do you think there's a market for a Trump RPG? He says.
Well, all right. Well,
Not role-playing
first,
game.
political RPGs
Bad
are a
idea.
way of masturbating. Okay, so
Kind
you
of.
can write it, and it'll feel great for you.
I don't know.
But
Wanking off to Donald Trump ain't my thing. I don't think.
but they will. I mean, and I'm not saying this from a political point of view. I'm just saying that political RP. When people write there's an RPG out there right now that's oh god, I forget. I came across my feed. It's about like killing all fascists or some shit like that. You know what? You feel great when you're writing it because you're writing it for yourself. Have at it. There's no market for it. Okay.
Okay.
Let me play
Tom?
devil's advocate.
Sure.
5 years ago, when Trump was in office the first time, I remember there was a late night commercial on for the, I might be messing this up, Trumpy Bear. It was a teddy bear. And it had
Yeah. Trumpy Bear. I remember
Oh, you remember that? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm thinking like somebody paid for a television spot on like a national TV station for admittedly late at night. This shit must be selling for them to do that, and so it's quite possible that with the number of people that vote for him, there might be a market for you to market something.
A Trumpy Bear, by the way, they're $49.99.
No
Unless
shit.
you become a member, in which case they're
Are they like
They're
little
good.
bears too? I bet they gotta be little bears.
I thought it was like
Man, $50
regular teddy bear size.
He really sold a ton
actually,
of them.
no, they're not that big because somebody's hold. I'm gonna have to put this in our Facebook chat. Hold on a second. I will show you the current Trumpy Bear. And
well, he pulled it up real quick. Okay, as someone who am not a fan of Donald Trump's policies, I will say this though. Oh, that's what it looks like.
yes.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show this because that's a Trumpy Bear.
That's a Trumpy Bear.
Okay, let's show the Trumpy Bear real quick.
I wouldn't pay
$50.
That's
No.
the Trumpy Bear.
and it's got the Trump haircut and it's orange. So I mean,
You know what? I think personally that a RPG based, let's take Trump out of it.
What would
An
you role play?
RPG dedicated to a president. Let's just say a president.
Okay.
Democrat, liberal, Republican, whatever you do. I personally don't see kind of the appeal. Now, a board game like based on World War III, where you go to DEF CON, whatever. Okay, that you could see some tactical kind of thing. But let's remove Trump totally out of this. How do you role play an RPG based upon like the White House?
You don't.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't understand the intrigue behind it and all that.
You know what? I can see more excitement in role playing a barista because you actually interact with people and they will be irate. You're going to role play the president, and anytime somebody irate comes up, the Secret Service takes their feet out beneath them.
True.
Yeah, you could make it a board game or a card game, but I don't see it as an RPG.
The Trumpy Bear. I'd pay $10 for that Trumpy Bear.
So evidently, Trump 2028 MAGA Man 36 watches our video, sir or madam, whatever you are. If you're here, I'd love to have your input. But an RPG, I agree with the guys. I just don't see and it's not a Trump thing. It's literally I just don't see the appeal of. How do you play that?
Excuse me, can I role play AOC? How about Bernie? Bernie?
I mean,
no, come on.
I mean,
didn't he say he was OSR leaning in the email?
Trump MAGA Man 36, Texas is the best location. Do you think there's a market for a Trump RPG, something like a political based game? I prefer classic old school game.
Well,
See,
you're talking, a political RPG. It's a lot of role play. It's a lot of yakety yak talk. It's not a dungeon crawl,
no,
and so I don't know what he's thinking.
it's not a Monty Hall.
No.
It's OSR. There's got to be a lot of kicking in the doors, killing shit, and taking their stuff.
Isn't that most RPGs?
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Let's just be fair here. Didn't that
It's
happen
politics.
January
That's a quote
6th?
from Tim
right?
Kask.
Wait a minute. We could call the RPG January 26th and kind of, it's technically like that.
But
No?
again, you're talking about it being a game, a board game, or a card game. You're not talking about
Yeah. All right. So Trump MAGA Man 36, probably not. Maybe you like it. Maybe if so, write it. Never know. Publish it. It might become popular.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you named it political dickheads, then I might blow some money on it.
But
Depending
that
on
would just have to be called Congress.
which was what I just said, political dickheads.
There you
Yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, my wife's safely downstairs.
go.
Eric's wife is right behind him. You're,
No, she's
you're
in the other.
screwed.
She's
Okay.
actually she's taking a bath.
Tom, is your wife in the room in hearing distance
He's
of this?
in the room, but with headphones on.
Okay,
Why?
you're lucky here
We're-
because this
we're
is
clear.
gonna be this is the question from Flowers 2394 from Pennsylvania. I'm a lurker on your show. I do not comment due to anxiety, but I
Okay.
feel safe emailing you men. Can you think about doing a show where your wives are online with you? And also one more question. You mentioned a long time ago you were going to play a live some D&D. Why did you decide not to do that? Thank you for your answers. It's kind of a two-part question about having
Okay,
a woman
well-
on here. I have no problem having a woman on here.
Well, I'm gonna go with the first part. Saturday night, Rach and I do a live stream from 8 to 9
Yeah.
over on 10 Cars Tavern.
Gamers Health.
Gamers
Yeah.
Health. We are there weekly, except for at a con. Then we might not be. And we're happy, to have on other guests.
Yeah.
The topic we want to discuss.
Yeah, and Tina's on my videos,
Yeah.
not ton, but I mean, usually my Tuesday night lives, Tina's on my
Right.
videos.
But
And
when it comes to
first-
like talking gaming shit, Rach goes to cons and she will game, and she understands when I'm doing my video. She'll comment because she knows enough from hearing about me, but she'd rather be playing with her perfume collection.
Oh,
Then-
man, how do you
then-
tolerate that? I am so sensitive to smells.
Oh,
My
no, she
girl's
knows
like
that.
vanilla
There
candle.
are times we step in the car and I'm like, listen, I'm rolling the windows down. She goes, oh, I have a new perfume on. I go, I know, it's okay. I'll survive.
And Tom, you, okay, I'm going to ask Tom on live video here. What the heck ever happened to the TNT show?
Tammy's got a big ass job working for the state, and
And we have a talk.
So she doesn't have her headphones on. Hey, Tammy, did you hear the question asked a few minutes ago?
I was faking.
so just a point of trivia. Very first time Tammy was on a live stream was on 10 Cars.
Oh, that's
Gamers
right.
Health.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had us both on. We were
Very
talking
cool.
about loss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Tammy's lost two husbands who passed away, and I
Oh,
had
remember
to
that show.
produce medical records before she would go out with me to make sure I was in good health and get a gym membership.
Yeah.
So
Fix that knee, damn it.
Yeah, but there was a few jokes about Dateline too along the way and all.
and Steve, are you frozen again?
Me?
Okay, you keep freezing up.
It's actually kind of cute.
He's
Probably
doing
a
his
connection.
best Walking Dead zombie impression.
Now Steve is single, but he does have a hot neighbor who had the hots for him. Steve?
And she's also about a third my age, so
Oh, don't be afraid of her dad. Good Lord. Just because it says Hell's Angels on his back of his vest doesn't mean anything.
the guy's a travel agent in Mexico, if that tells you anything.
Nice. Sinaloa. I am Sinaloa Travel Agency. So, yes. So, Flowers 2394. We're not averse to it. I would have no problem having a woman on the show. I mean, I think it'd be fun.
Right.
You know?
I'd love it.
Um,
Rach has occasionally commented from behind the green screen.
oh, and Rach is world famous for her singing ability of Jigglypuff.
Oh my god. Should be the theme song.
Rach is correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Rach has actually said some commentary on Jigglypuff that actually probably got that video demonetized.
Probably. She's
And
referring
she-
to a cactus and saying she'd grow it for the occasion. Just
Yeah, I think some sailors blushed watching that video.
yeah. She's Irish American, so
Yep.
just saying. You know.
Rob, how you doing? Cleaning your workshop. Nice. But the second half of her question, she's asking about our talk about doing the D&D game live. We are going to do it. In fact, I've been kind of making hints to the gentleman here for the past week or so. We wanted to wait until Eric had some commitments via gaming, didn't you have?
Yeah, I did, and
And
I was doing some play testing, which, by the way,
yes.
is I think live on Grim Jim. Well, it was
Nice.
live on Grim Jim's channel. You can watch it there.
Yep. And
But and honestly, listen, if you've ever tried to get a group together as adults,
mhm.
it's difficult, especially when you're trying to do a certain time frame.
Yes.
And we're trying to get our wives involved,
Yes.
which just doubled or tripled the difficulty of said organization.
And then you add to it WizardCon.
Yep.
You add to it my wife right after WizardCon had Kindergarten Roundup.
Yep.
So I was playing Bachelor until like 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
So the thing is we are going to have it. Flowers 2394. We're going to be doing it. We will live stream it. I am going to be the DM.
Mm-hmm.
And
How about this? We will announce it on our social media platforms 48 hours in advance.
yes.
That because we've learned that planning things out for like something like that, like a week in advance, lets the gods come along and
Yes.
like break your knee like Tom. But I'm just saying, we will announce it like 48 hours in advance. I'll
Yeah.
do it on Facebook and in
Yeah.
the tavern and on Discord, and Don will do it with the Tower Gang.
Yep.
We'll announce it.
But in all fairness, and I don't know about the gentleman in the show here right now, what I would like to optimally see is for us to have a specific day and time that we do it.
Yes.
That way we can set plan for it. And once that happens, we'll probably get that organized this weekend. Like Eric says, we'll announce, give a couple day notice. We are going to have it. And I'll just tell everybody, just in case anybody's interested in watching it, is everybody here are very experienced gamers. I think all of us have been gaming at least each 35, 40 plus years. I've been gaming now officially 47 years. Holy shit, I'm old.
Don't you're gonna make me do the math, and that's gonna hurt.
I'm 57 years old.
79. So
77.
okay. Now only reason why I even know
78.
because
Christmas is 77.
the Dungeon Master's Guide was it had to be out. It was freshly out, and my friend Kenny only had the DMG. He didn't have the player's handbook.
Yeah, I cut my teeth on the box set.
Ah.
And actually, and I'm ashamed to admit, I opened it up. It looked like it totally sucked balls. My friend Lance borrowed it. Literally a couple days later, came back and it was like the best thing since shooting fresh heroin. And I've never shot fresh heroin, but
Heroin.
if it's anything like that, I can see why people get addicted.
You just gave ammo for the troll out there. That hey,
Oh my God! Let me get a clip of that one. Let me.
Fugly says 40 hours is just enough time for people not to be able to make it. Absolutely, Fugly. Flint Fire Ford says hello, and Edward Kopp says Halloween 1980. Hell yeah! So we're basically a bunch of old fuckers in here, been playing D&D for quite a long time. And yes, I just demonetized this video.
Oh, dude, I don't.
Tammy's experience with D&D goes back to right out of college, running D&D at the group home for the boys in the group home.
Oh, so she's not a Tom convert. She is an experienced gamer.
Oh yeah,
Played at college.
she played AD&D. She's
Ooh.
yeah. She's got her T-shirt and
So,
she's been there,
so
done
she's
that,
got
got
her
the T-shirt
nerd
too.
cred.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's got
All
nerd
right.
cred.
She's got the nerd badge.
And they were using Dungeons and Dragons to teach consequences to these kids in the group home. The Boy Scout
Oh,
group
did she like teach self-flagellation with like the whip and all that?
They had
No.
another volunteer who ran the game.
I tried that shit with my daughters and their friends, and their parents got mad at me. Can you believe that shit?
Aw.
Come on.
Yeah.
Rod says, "Good Lord, I'm the young kid at 1981." Yeah, you're the young one at 1981, I think.
1980 here. I got the Moldvay Basic.
Ooh, boom, right below 'em. So yes, we're gonna do that. The game, I'm gonna tell everybody right now. It is gonna start in a city, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
So
I am going to be playing a cleric that was kicked out of his monastery because he confessed that he fell in love with an elf. That was a no-no.
Yes, let me guess. Eric is playing the elf.
No.
No.
No, I thought,
Tanner's
darn it, I
playing
thought
the
I
elf.
knew.
Listen,
I would never have
the closest
guessed.
listen, I don't play elves. I'll play dwarves. I'll play halflings. The closest I came to playing an elf was the 2 years in Joe the Lawyer's campaign. I was a gnome.
RPG Grandma just threw the gauntlet down across my chin.
Uh-oh.
Tammy will crush your feeble D20s. Well, we will be
She
live
wasn't
online
listening.
and we will find out. I will say one thing about me as a DM. I'm very fair. All dice rolls are in the open that I do because I think that's fair. You deserve to see. So,
Right.
and I'll warn you guys right now. I'm a cunning bastard when it comes to D&D. I'm good at what I do.
I'm
And
okay.
I'm saying that on live in front of a lot of people right now. So I
I'm
got
okay
something
with
to hold
that.
up.
If bad shit happens, that's just part of the game.
Well, I will tell you guys right now, when it comes to me, bad shit can happen, but it's going to be your fault if it does. Because I like to always give an out.
Are you going to give the obligatory, are you sure?
Oh, I always screw mentally with you. Sometimes I'm serious, sometimes I'm not. You'll never know. Oh, man, we got a whole bunch of people in here. We've got the Zatrin, thank you, to start at 9 years old with the Menser Basic set. Wow.
Nice.
Flint Fireforge, which I have met Flint. He's a really cool guy. I met him in Eric's Speakeasy. 83 Red Box. Beck Me, good choice. Beck Me's good, right, Tom?
No, I like Moldvay.
Yeah.
And about 25% of my like for Moldvay is the cover art,
Yes.
which is just
And by the way, to Rod W's credit, Rod had a Kickstarter. Rod, is that Kickstarter still up? If so, drop the link in a comment. Rod's Kickstarter's artwork is like spot on. And I think Chet Mitten did that, didn't it, Rod? Didn't he, Rod? Talk about an ode to the old way.
Chet Mitten is a really cool artist. I've met this guy multiple times
Yeah.
in the real world.
Yep. Thaiatus says, I grew up around it. I'm second generation gamer. Parents played it when it came out.
Nice.
Yeah.
My parents weren't gamers. My dad was a helicopter pilot, and he was strict as hell. He didn't
My-
mind D&D. My mom didn't mind D&D, but they didn't go into the whole satanic panic bullshit.
My
thank
dad
God.
did not get any of my nerdy pursuits, but when I got the Moldvay Basic for Christmas, he I said, Dad, would you help us play this? And he actually DM'd briefly until some people showed up at the house, and then he had to go. But we briefly encountered the bandits outside the keep on the Borderlands. And so my first dungeon master was actually my dad, who totally did not understand it. But he was very game and ran that on it was day after Christmas. And, it's a great memory. He wasn't a great dungeon master, but we had fun. So
RPG Grandma gives some advice here to you guys. Remember, kids, talk to it, run from it, or fight it. But the players are responsible for balance. Very, very true. And I'll just say this, that if bad shit happens, it's usually your own fault.
Yeah, the golden rule
Yes.
is don't do
all
stupid
right,
stuff.
so I got to write that down.
Rod says the Horde Kickstarter just ended. You funded Rod, also, by the way, congratulations. Seriously, guys, go to Kickstarter, look at the Horde. His cover art is like it just had it. It's kind of like a real heavy take on the original box set, but it's kind of got Chet Mitten's funny twist to it. Really, really cool artwork. Really, really cool. And Rod's agreed to give me 10 free copies for saying this on the video tonight. Right, Rod? No? I guess not. El Ganta, are you still considering or have you already filled positions? No, I have not filled positions. Actually, tomorrow is a video going up. I actually have the email right here. I'll be reaching out to you. Yeah, see? I think. Rod says, and Tom's right, Mulvey is the best. Otis cover is what drew me in. Sorry, Rod had to leave just now. Oh, was he banned? No? Mulvey's good. I admit it. You can't. That's good shit. Terry R says he started AD&D 1980. Mr. Gunn says 1977 basic version purchased Ithaca, New York. Same thing with me, except my mom got it for my birthday, but really, technically, I didn't start playing till 78 when my friend came back during Christmas break and said, this shit's cool. Elke Antioch says, I have a commissioned painting of my father and myself as knights fighting near the caves of... That's really cool. You should maybe post it online and show it to people. I'd love to see that image.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Rod says, no, the Horde isn't the cover you're thinking. That's that's right. It is. That's B&B 2. You're right. Tui, you're right. Sorry about that. Still a very cool cover. It's like it's an ode to. Elke Antioch says, just like Keep on the Borderlands module. Rod says the Horde cover is pretty. Just not trying to get on tangents here, but Rod, is that the wood engraved one? If so, 100% right. Very cool. Very cool. Ruthless Orc Army. Is there any other kind of Orc Army? Oh, wait a minute. There are. They sell tacos on the Orc taco truck. And hey, it's true, though.
Yeah, everybody needs
I'm
orc.
not being racist. I mean, it's flipping true.
Yeah, everybody needs orc tacos.
Orc tacos.
Can I get some chilaquiles?
Flint, I appreciate it, but this is the problem that I run into. There has been changes now to federal U.S. employment law. Just as kind of a note to everybody, for those that know, the Trump administration has implemented that you cannot hire anybody not legally allowed to work in the United States. They have to be U.S. based if they're a contractor or an employee. And they have to go through an entire process. So you're from the UK. I don't care where someone's from as long as they're good at what they do, but it just wouldn't qualify. You'd have to go through a whole bunch of hoops and everything. And it's not an anti-Trump statement. It's just what the law is now. So sadly.
I thought you couldn't hire anybody who didn't have a green card or the legal right to work here. Anyways, before that.
Well, okay, Steve knows members of my publishing company. We had a lot of full-time staff in the business, but we also had a lot of contractors. And used to be back then, the way the federal law worked was all you had to do is have them fill out an I-9. That was it. They filled out an I-9 in their contract agreement. You could hire them. Now they require you have to have an I-9. Then you have to have a thing called an I-9W. It's a specialized form, and they have to prove they're a U.S. citizen to you. Or they have to prove that they're legally allowed to work in the United States. If they're outside the U.S. and you want to hire them as a contractor, you have to go ahead and they have to get a permit. And the license and the application fee for the permit is $700.
What?
Oh. So I doubt someone's going to pay $700 unless they're going to go to work contract for like IBM or some major company.
That's an outrageous fee.
It is. And it is what it is. I'll just put it that way. Al Pasteur clan. Yeah. I'm in the USA. Oh, you are, Flint? Flint, drop me your info. Drop it to info@wizardtowergames.com. Again, info at wizardtowergames.com. And I will go ahead and I'll look at it. I'm looking for multiple layout, multiple editors.
So, let me just make sure I understand this. So, one of the artists I worked with on the Star Frontiersman and the Frontier Explorer magazines, he's British, but I think he's living in Sweden or Norway now. But he's British,
Yes.
and great artist, and he's just donated artwork left and right. But I had been thinking in recent years of commissioning him. So if I actually wanted to pay him to do artwork for a project, I would have a problem, is what you're saying.
Well, I'll be blunt, okay? I'm not saying you're this way. If you want to do it legally, yes. If you want to hire somebody to do something for you and you just want to give them cash, like let's say, Tom, you're from Canada. And I say, Tom, I want you to do a layout for me. You say, okay, Don, send me $200 by PayPal.
Sure.
I can send you $200 by PayPal, and you can say for a set of game books, whatever you want. The problem is, I'm an LLC.
Right.
I do it very, very by the book because I can use contract labor as a write-off now on my federal.
Right.
So I have to report it, and I really want to do it because I have been audited before when I had my other publishing company, and they really crawl up your colon when they're doing an audit on a company.
You don't need a colonoscopy for another 10 years, right?
Yeah, tell me about it. So Flint, info@wizardtowergames.com.
Yeah.
Zadron says, what if will that affect the use of stock art made by illegals? That's funny as hell. You know what the funny thing is, though? This is the weird thing about the law. If Eric lived in Canada or Norway or wherever, Eric can put his work for sale on a website and you can buy that artwork, right? But if I hire Eric legally to do work for me as a contractor and I do it by the book, quote unquote, as a publisher, Eric would have to go through the process.
Of course.
It's just messed up. It makes no sense, but it is what it is. At least there ain't tariffs on that. I mean,
But in other words, stock art's okay.
yes.
I think Don's into the missionary position.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Tom, I haven't known you that well, but maybe you come to WizardCon too. You'll find out, buddy.
That shit just popped out of my mouth. It's my ADHD.
Oh,
Oh, I'm not used to it popping out of a guy's mouth, but you fell on that one, Tom.
I feel the
Eric
burn.
Pop asks, you burn. Hey, you
burn.
fall for
Feel the
it.
burn.
You walked into it. You opened the door up and said, "Welcome in."
You caught me with my mouth open.
Oh,
That's right. That's right.
there you
Edward
go.
Cup says, "What are the positions you're looking for?" And that's where Tom's comment came from. I am looking for right now a couple layout specialists and a couple of editors is what I'd ideally like to find. And then you're thinking of David Thompson. His one tweet about anything he hasn't tried, kind of weirdly. It doesn't surprise me. Thaddeus says, technically it's illegal to hire an undocumented worker, but it historically has been nearly impossible to figure that out on your own. You're right, Thaddeus. But the way the laws have changed now, and Michigan, of all things, just passed a law that for every 30 hours of work that you do in Michigan now, whether you're a contractor or not, if you could document your time, you get 1 hour of PTO. So in a standard 40-hour week, you gain 1 hour really of PTO. And that's 2.5 hours of PTO per month. That's going to hurt a lot of small businesses. Flint is a good guy for a dwarf. Yes, he is. Rod says, and share if you like. Mr. Gunn says, nah, bro, just fly over there and hand him some euro. Edward Kopp says, I'm working on a project with team members in US, UK, Greece, and Romania. Edward, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. I don't know about New York law, but I know it's a federal law. You might want to just double check, especially if you utilize any of that payroll on your.
Yeah, you don't want to get burned.
Yeah, because the fines, the fines for it are heavy. They're like double. They're heavy. Edward Kopp also says, "Go ahead, Steve."
Yeah, I was say it's definitely a colonoscopy when the IRS gets done with you.
Yeah, when I had my publishing company, Two Moon, I got audited 2 times in 3 years.
Yeah.
No, literally, they literally walk in, flash a badge in your face, and they start digging through shit.
Yeah. Well, I hear that the North Carolina Department of Revenue is
Mhm.
a pleasurable colonoscopy because a certain individual has gone through audits from them multiple
Yes.
times for not
And-
paying.
And I heard that when it comes to the North Carolina Department of Revenue, you can sell things like your property to pay them.
Yeah.
Edward Kopp says, I'm the licensor of UKIP and I'm using my LLC to contract. Okay. Wow. Nice. And he says, and I do everything by the book. We need to talk. I have no problem. Yeah, Edward, we need to talk definitely. I'm a by the book guy too. My dad had a rule. My dad says there's 3 people in the world you do not fuck with. You don't mess with your priest, you don't mess with the IRS, and you don't mess with the person who cooks your food.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Um,
You don't fuck with anybody who has access to your toothbrush.
yes,
Ooh,
very,
I don't want to
very,
know.
very true.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn says, welcome to Bureaucracy, Don. Oh, Mr. Gunn, I had a publishing company, trust me. Steve knows, I had 9 full-time employees. I had a dozen contractors. Oh my Lord, do I know about bureaucracy. One thing about the state of Michigan, they love complicated tax, complicated licensing, and everything else, especially the city of Marshall.
Well, I think
Mr.
you ended up ticking off the wrong people at the wrong time, and they were sending the IRS after you to try to screw you over.
Not
Well, because-
really. I mean, the thing is when you actually think about it, the only thing that I ticked off about them and I got lucky. I was leasing from an attorney, Mark Stewart. He was really cool. Mr. Gunn says, watch the movie Brazil for an explanation. Exactly. Mr. Gunn, Don, Le Shock. Exactly. Rod says, you're used to keeping in a guy's... Rod. Let me tell you about how bad Rod's game covers are now. Okay, we'll turn the tables on this shit. Eric, quit looking so excited. Brian says, "Damn, walk right into that door frame." Yeah. RPG Grandma says, "It doesn't matter who's in charge. In my experience, the government never makes any sense in these sort of things. Every time I think I know all the triplicate forms, some agency invents a new one." That is honestly true. And I guess maybe kind of that can segue into something about publishing. We all know that there's very simple ways to publish, like DriveThru RPG. Very great service. You can go and you can do your, publish your stuff. But one of the things that are happening right now under Trump is that he's really clamping down on people who make money on the side using things like PayPal. And it used to be PayPal would not report your yearly earnings unless they exceeded $3,000. The new federal guidelines say anything over $25, PayPal, Stripe, and other places like that have to report to the IRS.
Oof.
And you can get away with it for a while, but like my brother learned the hard way because he's an asshole. Trust me, he is. My brother Mike learned that when you fuck over the IRS and don't pay $50,000 worth of tax on 50 grand worth of self-employment, the IRS comes after you.
Yeah.
And it turns into like 50 grand worth of fines, cost, interest, and shit.
Yeah.
So the Zatron says, what layout software do you use in your production pipeline, since that might matter for people that know X well, but then use Y? I utilize InDesign and or Corel Draw. I can do either one. So I'm good on that.
I know a little bit about InDesign.
Yep. InDesign, I'll give it one thing. InDesign is a piece of software that was done right by Adobe. I mean, spot on, but I just like Corel. And for people who knock Corel, don't knock it until you try the new modern version. It's excellent. It's not the old shit from 2010 that you think it is. TXG, not a problem. You're late. No big deal. You'll get the bill via PayPal. Just send me your email. Mr. Kopp says, will do. Haven't started the money part yet. Just getting into the contracts. Edward, get a hold of a lawyer. Trust me. The laws have changed so dramatically. It'll save you. A lawyer, if done right, if they're good, A lawyer will never cost you money. A lawyer will always make you money, guaranteed. And the guy who cooks food. Yes, you are. Let me see here. I'm just trying to go down through chats, guys. Amen RPG Grandma. Zeteron says that's going to kill my side hustle as a commercial artist.
Yeah, the powers that be
That's to
don't
go.
care.
Good night, all. RPG Grandma, thank you very much. Have a safe night, okay?
Yeah.
And TXG says, if you're talking about the IRS, I once told them I'm not paying you a fucking dime. I was immediately sent a letter saying you'll remit payment immediately. I apologized. yeah, exactly.
Oopsie.
And Fugly. Okay, real quick. One of the things that people do not like about Adobe, but I think they were smart to do, was Adobe now has a subscription service. You can pay monthly based on what you want to utilize. That's better than paying like $1,000 for InDesign like it used to be. You can now pay like $19 a month and you get like InDesign, and I think it's forget the other one that you do. It's their photo manipulation, not Photoshop. No, not Photoshop. It's the other one. There's another one that they give you. But Corel is a pay for the software. You own it forever. It's yours. Yada yada yada. Rob Conley is the smart guy in chat right now. Corel is how I do all my maps. This man turned me on to the 8550 sitting right over here, which is a printer. He's a smart guy. Corel is excellent software. People knock it, but
I just want to interject on the InDesign. The Adobe software, Tammy's a teacher, and so we pay it under the teacher usage.
Yep.
And I just use her login to use it. And so it's ridiculously cheap that way, but it's 49 different apps of things on there, from Photoshop to everything else to
Lightroom. That's the other one, Lightroom.
Yeah. So it's been very cost effective. I mean, we're talking InDesign, Animate, Audition, Media Encoder, Premiere Rush, just all sorts of things in here. I don't use half of these, and I only know a few of them really well, and a couple of them I kind of know enough to be dangerous. But it's worth it with that teacher deal that they have, because she's a teacher. So it's a good deal. It's a good deal on the subscription that way. And that's what I've gotten away with for doing all my editing of video.
Yep. And Adobe's very stable too. And so is Corel. And Corel has Corel Draw. They have Corel Photo Paint, which is Corel Photo Paint is equivalent to Photoshop. Right. And it is good. I mean, it used to be Corel was like, Microsoft Paint. Oh, wank, wank, wank. No, Corel is like spot on, top of the line. I'll be honest with you. I rarely touch InDesign. 99% of my layouts are done via Corel Draw. It's just such an awesome piece of software.
Nice.
St. Cuthbert. Me and St. Cuthbert had a video talk the other day. Really, really good talk. He's really, really good talk. He's also a really good creative guy. He says eBay requires reporting on taxes over $600. This was put into play under Biden last year. They were going to lower it, but sent message that it was temporary on hold. Yeah, the thing is the IRS is getting now so touchy that, and this is the part that pisses me off no matter what side of the aisle, because they're all the same when it comes to this. Do you notice, like with the tariffs, little guys like me got bent over and got a colonoscopy with tariffs, but then the bigger companies got exemptions where they didn't have to pay them. I mean, it's like, come on, guys. I mean, why you hit the little guy? I mean, $600. Some guy wants to sell, or gal wants to sell some shit online on eBay. So what? They make an extra couple grand.
You're not making political contributions to somebody's campaign fund. Is what the problem is. And so they use this excuse of, well, this company is too big to fail. And, we don't want this company failing because all those people that work for that company will be out of work. So, it's mostly because you're not making the AOCs of the world a millionaire within a year of being elected in the Congress. And,
Yeah, it's called crony capitalism.
Yep. This guy right here, Edward Kopp, just mentioned something that's vitally important if you're a small businessman, and it's not bullshit. He says, I have 2 mentors through the SBA SCORE program. The SBA is the Small Business Administration. They are a really, really solid resource. The SBA, they've got everything from, like him, the SCORE program. You can get legal help. They have grants they'll give you. Everything. And Eric, I think, don't you have to go that you have
Yeah, I do have to go
show?
to. No, I got to do the hangout.
Oh, the hangout. Eric,
10 o'clock.
thank you, sir. Enjoy. Sorry
Thank you,
for wasting your
gentlemen.
time tonight. We kind of ran off
No,
and
it
just
was
ranted and
keep
raved.
it going. It's been great topics, great letters, great feedback from the audience.
I don't
So,
think we've even covered half the stuff we were going to talk about.
true.
Nope.
We'll get to it
You
maybe.
you keep talking.
But Eric, in case we get to gaming this weekend, I'll kill you later, okay?
Man, don't worry. If our characters have to run, I'll just make sure that Tom's a little bit slower. That's
Yeah, you
all.
trip Tom. Just trip him.
All right, folks.
All right. See you, Eric. Rob Conley says Fooey, but they really try to hide the pay version. Yes, that's very, very true. They do. Mr. Gunn says, "Oh, if all goes well, I'm hungry. My favorite Mexican joint is closed. $60 a month gets you everything." Yes. Rob says, Adobe subscription is the way I can afford Adobe compared to 15 years ago. And real quick, Rob has a really good point here because the way it goes now is it used to be that you had to buy Adobe. And as an example, they used to have a really basic suite when I had my publishing company that we purchased. It was what they call Adobe Basic. And what it had was it had Photoshop, InDesign, and a program called Fireworks. Fireworks was their kind of like their HTML programming thing. It was a deal. I caught it on sale for $1,200. No, I mean, I caught it on sale and I busted my ass to buy it because it was regularly like $2,000. Now you can get like a big package for like $30 a month.
Yeah.
And it's automatically updated. You're always got the current version. You get all the free spyware. You get all your personal shit dug into by Adobe. All the bonuses that go along with it.
Although I will say that they tinker with stuff in those programs because the Premiere Rush that I used for video editing, it's got music in it. And I used some of that music for some of my early videos. And then later on, I went to, edit and put a thing together. The song, the tune was gone.
See, this is why I like Corel, because I use what I dig into is I dig into a program, Corel. It's called Corel Video Studio. That's what I do all my videos for. And what I like about it is you download it on your computer, it's yours. And then they want to keep you so badly, you'll get these little things like, oh, for Corel Video Studio, for an extra $14.99, you can buy a package that has like 200 opening styles, 3,000 sounds and all this other stuff. So I like Corel just because I'm kind of old fashioned. I kind of like to have my CDs, but you don't get CDs. You got to download it.
Well, yeah, it's but the Adobe Premiere Rush. I mean, there's a Adobe Premiere, which has got more control. It's got more of a learning curve. Premiere Rush is just like idiot proof almost.
Yeah.
And I'm just so good with Premiere Rush at this point.
You're used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I can do what I got to do, and I don't, and I'm happy. And but it's things disappear out of the program that I used to use, and then I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I've actually had to do sneaky shit of importing the video sound from a previous video in, and separate the soundtrack from the video, and it's all kinds of crap to still use that song because I like.
But the nice thing about but this is kind of what I like about overall with Adobe is the reason why I have both is because I know that I work with people, and a lot of people are very Adobe sworn. I mean, they like Adobe. Like Steve. Steve is a massive Linux guy. I prefer Windows. Eric likes Mac. And like earlier today, even like with phones, me and Steve was talking earlier. Steve still uses a bloody flip phone because he
No
hates
spec.
smartphones. Yeah, and I keep telling him, get a freaking smartphone. It's the best thing in the world. Trust me.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to be forced to. But
Yeah,
that's the way it goes.
I still had a flip phone, and when I went into catering, and all the other drivers are like, "Don't you have GPS?" I'm like, "I don't need no stinking GPS. I got a brain and a map, and I can go anywhere in Massachusetts." And then one day I went to open my flip phone, and it broke in half in my hand.
You know how my phone broke? I was in my place and I was talking to Tina on the phone, and I had a Razor flip phone, best damn phone in the world I've ever had.
Mm.
And I go to take my t-shirt off. I lift my arm up to pull my shirt out, and I had a ceiling fan, and I went
Ding, ding,
smack,
ding.
and I was like, "Oh man!" And
I
then I
had
went,
it was an 11-year-old Verizon flip phone, and it just
"Yep,
literally broke in my hand. And
broke
so
my heart."
I got a Galaxy, and then when I met Tammy, she's like, "Oh no, you got to get an iPhone." So
Yep. I have an iPhone, and like I told Steve, I said I don't like Apple. I don't like Macs. I don't like their software. I don't like it. But I'll tell you what, Apple does a damn fine job on their phones. The way it lays out, the way it works, everything. I'm impressed. I'll give them that. Fugly says I use Photoshop, but only for older models. I use Photoshop a lot, but like I said, I have to just because of the nature of my work. Some people send me Adobe, so you just kind of be flexible. And that's real quick, maybe a good segue to something. For those of you that are considering going into a publishing business, understand one thing, and I'm not saying this to sound impressive, and I'm not saying this trying to get you not to do it because I don't want competition. If you're going to publish and you're going to publish the right way, it is a very expensive thing to get into and maintain. Because the software alone and having to have a computer that can handle the type of software you're utilizing and such, it's an expensive business to get into. Rod, Isgram Creations will tell you just to go ahead and hire an editor and a layout person, artist can run thousands of dollars. I mean, you can blow thousands of dollars on art alone. And
oh yeah, $900 for a good cover image.
is nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Tom, you're spot on that, my friend. The Zatran says
No, I
Joe
talked to
Block.
artists.
Yep. Joe Block said, or excuse me, Zadaran says Joe Block uses Word for his print on demand stuff through Drive-Thru RPG, no InDesign, no Affinity Design or anything. Okay. I'm going to say something to this. I know Joe Block. I have met Joe Block. I have infinite respect for Joe Block, and Joe Block knows his shit. He knows what he's doing, and I have yet to meet anybody more knowledgeable about the world of Greyhawk than that man right there.
Oh yeah.
But I will say one thing. Word is not designed to be used as a layout program, and Word can do weird things depending. Now, Joe's probably so experienced with it, Joe knows all the nuances of it, but to use Word to lay out anything like that, you really have to understand the nuances of it, because Word has these weird little things where, like, depending how you convert it, like the word I using certain fonts will look like a forward bracket. And it's just really strange the way it's done. So I did not know that about Joe Zatran, and I'm impressed because I actually have some of Joe's books, and they're very well done. They look right. They look proper, like they're laid out. But that's an instance where the master knows his tools very, very well, and he utilizes them very well. But you better know your tools very well to do that. Rob Conley says, I tried learning Illustrator because they're custom brushes, but the main way of handling fills is weird. It is weird. It's really weird the way they use fills. That's why I like Corel. Corel kind of uses the KISS principle. Everything makes sense to me, but then again, I'm used to it. Whereas someone who's not, well, like I used the Corel video. If Tom got into Corel video, Tom would probably be scratching his head just like me. If I got into Tom's program, because I'm not used to it, I'd be like, what? It's all what you're used to. Stick with what you're used to. Tom or Steve?
For video editing, I use KDen Live, which comes with KDE.
But
And for the
but KDE is a Linux program.
KDE is a window manager for Linux.
Yeah,
So like
for
with
Linux.
Windows, everything's all together. With Linux, it's in layers and pieces and stuff. And KDE is the window manager on top of Linux. So
Gotcha. Thias says, I wish Adobe still offered the one-time purchase option. I don't like subs. I don't like subs either, but I think, and Tom, Steve, I mentioned your guys' opinion on this one. I think the pros, there's pros and cons. The cons, of course, is you don't have the CD. The pro to me outweighs it because what's nice about having subscription is when you look at how much like Adobe Photoshop is, I can pay $20 a month and get Adobe Photoshop. So it cost me, essentially $250 a year. But if I wanted to buy Photoshop, it would be $800.
Yeah.
But what do I get for my $20 a month? I get automatic updates. I always have the latest edition. I always have the latest stuff. If I run into a problem, I don't have to deal like if I like lay a magnet on my CD-ROMs or I break something, or I lose a CD. You don't have to worry about that. It's all fixed. So, what do you guys prefer, Tom, Steve?
for which one?
Do you prefer subscription based or purchase based for software?
Purchase based.
I prefer purchase based, but we have a lot of subscriptions.
Let me ask you a question, guys. Seriously, why? Why purchase over subscription?
Because then you own it.
Yeah, then you own it. Yeah.
Yeah, you own it. It's like buying a DVD. I always bought DVDs because I could watch that movie anytime I want down the road. But Tammy doesn't function that way. We watch we
2025.
I know, but it's the whole streaming thing and.
Well, Fugly says subscriptions are never cost effective. It depends, Fugly. I think the value of subscription to me, it depends on how often you use it. I use Corel and Photoshop literally every day. Every day I use it.
Weekly.
Yep. Now, if I was using Corel, let's say I was using, let's just pick on Photoshop. If I was using Adobe once a month, would it be really worth $20 a month to me? Probably not. But subscriptions are cost effective only if you utilize it a lot. I think
also depends on your income. I mean, if you're making $60,000 a year, maybe not. But if you're making more than that, then it's the scale of the economics changes.
But also, I think it also depends. And again, there's a million and one, and you're right about that. But also, I think what do you use the program for? Are you using, and we'll just pick on Photoshop. Are you using Photoshop and Illustrator for fun because you just like designing stuff and piddling with it? Or do you use it for your business and livelihood? Mm-hmm. Business and it's like back in 2008 when I founded my publishing company. It was a big purchase for me, yes, but I needed it for the use of my company. Now it's even better because your initial outlay isn't as much. So right. It's cost effective in a startup sense to me.
I think this is a case of my hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Exactly. Same here. I agree. TXG says, I'm a GIMP and Inkscape user, not skilled, but I use them. Yes, but
I love GIMP too.
GIMP is a great program, but GIMP has its limitations because the problem with GIMP is you cannot cross-use GIMP with certain programs. It's a little bit weird, but GIMP for casual use.
But it's free.
Yes,
it's
again,
free.
If you're that once a month or every couple times a month kind of guy, or use it for fun or for your own little project, GIMP is awesome. Because let's face it,
I started out on GIMP. I like GIMP.
Yep.
I think
'cause
I think it's funny that they used to have a skin for GIMP that made it look like Photoshop, and then Adobe kind of got their panties in a wad over that, so that went
Well,
away.
no, actually, Steve, it went away by then. But did you know that using Corel, I can go ahead and I can switch Corel's look to make it look identical to InDesign. I can make it look like Illustrator. There's ways that you can do it because it keeps you familiar then, more
Mhm.
familiar. I use Paint, Mr. Gunn says. Really?
I used to
Um,
use Dungini.
Oh my God, Dungini.
Dungini.
Wow, blast from the past.
I used to do
Well,
a
that
lot of
wasn't
mapping in
bad.
Dungini.
Dungini was pretty cool.
That's
Well,
always
here's a fun one. I bought a copy of Photoshop in college, and it ran on Windows, I think 98 and XP. And I
Wow.
still have that. I have to run it through VirtualBox on a copy of XP, but I still have it.
Yep. Yep. Rod said, I tried Affinity Publisher. Some things I like, but not nearly as good as InDesign for things with lots of art in them. You know what? And that's the thing. It depends what you're doing. If you're going to use, if you're like, as an example, Word, if it's a straight text novel, I can lay out a 400-page book in 30 minutes in Word and it'll look right. But anything with imagery, you really can't beat InDesign and you can't beat CorelDRAW for it. I mean, they're just geared for that graphical type stuff. Rod's 100% spot on. Rob Conley says, Corel for layout, well, I am impressed. I'm an old page maker, man, and InDesign has enough of its DNA that I stuck with that. Yeah, Rob, if you're not for straight text, I don't like using it, but anything with a lot of images like role-playing games modules, and Tom has a copy of it. My Haunted Ruins was done in CorelDRAW, 100% CorelDRAW. TXG says, Mr. Gunn, got to work out what I'm doing after retirement. I may bust, but I haven't decided yet. And then Mr. Gunn says, Don, don't worry about the IRS. They don't have any staff since Doge. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you know what my luck is, Mr. Gunn? If there was one IRS auditor in the entire United States and he had to pick one freaking business, guess whose business he would choose? Mine.
my mother was an IRS auditor. Number one rule is don't walk in and be an arrogant douche.
Mhm.
Just free advice. Don't
Yep.
be an arrogant douche.
It's like going into a restaurant, looking at the waitress today, and you better tell that chef they better get my fucking order right or there'll be trouble. Yeah, your order will be right, all right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, mom audited people in South Carolina, and she got a lot of these moonshiners who were playing fast and loose with their reporting of their money.
Yeah.
And they had to have armed guards in there.
Oh, yeah.
These guys came in. It was the story she told was just funny as hell.
Crazy.
But, yeah, you come in all arrogant and jerky. You're going to get arrogant and jerky from the IRS. It's guaranteed.
Zatrin says to Rob Conley, have you tried Inkscape? Open source. Inkscape is very, very good. It really is. Rob answers back to that. Yes, my backup if Corel gets stupid. Corel never gets stupid unless you hit the little home button. Remember, the little home button that locks up your entire Corel? That's been a problem and a bug since 2013, and they haven't fixed it yet.
They won't fix it.
Why?
Don't know. When you look at Corel, there's like a little house in the upper left corner. It's so easy to hit when you're up in there. The problem is if you click it, your whole system freezes up.
That's weird.
I mean, low priority doesn't make them money.
You have to reset your computer. Like it locks up everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're not going to fix it because it doesn't make them money. They want the new toys that make people buy their software.
Yep. Rob Conley says, I make sure I can do my maps in there. Oh, man. Just CorelDRAW is such a good vector-based program. My God. John Peck, thank you for coming on the show. He says it's scary to think about starting a business. No. You know, you're like my grandpa used to say, and I'm not joking. My grandpa had an old saying he told me once, and I never forget this. He said, never, ever be afraid to fail. Any idiot can fail, but boy, you better be scared shitless of success. And he is 100% right on that. That's what's scary.
That was Gary Gygax's problem. He wasn't scared shitless of success.
That's right. Fugly asks, but can you use it when the internet isn't connected? Yes, Corel Draw and Photoshop both, even though they're subscription, I don't have to be connected to the internet to use them. You have to be connected to the internet for updates when it comes time for the update. But like with Corel Draw, I can disconnect from the internet and I can be dry and I can use Corel Draw all day long. It doesn't affect me at all. Mr. Gunn says Corel Suite 2025 is $22.42 a month or $5.49 for the 2025 version. Yes, but one thing that they do, in fairness to Corel, if you have Corel already, and when you go to close Corel, they always offer you great deals. And I think I got offered the 2025 version for like $249. But the golden rule of Corel is, and I don't know if Rob would agree with me on that, is never take the immediate upgrade. Like always wait a year. So I have the 2023 version right now, Corel 2023. I will probably upgrade to 2025 here this summer. You don't want to go right to the next one. You always want to kind of skip a year because that's when you get the real good value and everything. TXT says, Mr. Gunn, only because I sacrificed something major and make it happen. Hold on a minute. Sorry. I already saw that. Rob says, sorry about that. Rob says, what I do is upgrade Corel paid version every 2 to 3 years. Exactly, Rob. Smart man. Everyone's saying smart. Exactly. And then he says, the core drawing tools updates is very slow, so I don't miss much waiting. Yes. Affinity Studio. Anyone have experience with that? Okay, because I do not, but I've actually heard positives about it. That's why I was just wondering. Zatron still uses a flip phone. Mr. Pop says, of course, Steve is a Linux guy, probably uses Ubuntu. Steve?
Ubuntu? Yeah, I use Kubuntu, which is the KDE version because it works good for programming and writing.
Gotcha. Cure is not bad, John. I've actually used it. It's actually not too bad. Mr. Gunn says, Ma Bell dial phone for my grandmother and fingers. Yeah, exactly. Some people just hold on to it. Steve's one of them. He's fighting this left and right. We were talking earlier about that, right, Steve? I'm trying to sell him an Apple phone. I don't even work for
if you can make a smartphone that's indestructible, I might consider it because every smartphone that's out there, I will break within 6 months. That's why I own a mil-spec phone. And even after I've had this one 3 years, and my gosh, it looks like I ran it through a blender half a dozen times. It is just trashed.
TXG, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
I keep my smartphone in a little thing I bought at the Army Navy store right on the belt. Because when I first got a smartphone, I noticed all the kids, all the young 20-somethings I worked with, they had cracked screens. They all shoved their phone in their back pocket.
This thing right here, this is what I got. It's thin. This thing I drop it
on my hip,
great
on my belt.
Yeah.
And they've got a new glass that goes over top of it that's even better than the Emerald screens. That they say that you literally can like smash it with a hammer and you won't even scuff it.
Well, I wouldn't take a chance on that. Not on a $1,200 phone.
Well, yeah, because that's what I would have to have, is something like that.
Mr. Gunn says, Don, ever since I got an Apple iPhone, I don't do tech support for my wife anymore. Fisher Price has its appeal. Mr. Gunn, I take it your wife is not in the room right now or watching this show. And John Peck says, good things about Score. I've never heard of Score. Mac Pages will do layout in a quick minute. I do my own art. Everybody has their thing. I had a Mac for a while. I've used Mac Pages. I'm just not a fan, but I think it's more muscle memory, knowledge of Corel and InDesign. I'm just used to it. Joe knows how it goes. Yep. Word for layout is a sheer pain in the it can be. Yes, it can. Rob says, curious how he gets the PDF in the right PDFX format. He has to have an extra step after the export. I think, Rob, the new version of Word will allow you to go ahead and convert to PDF. And when you go to convert to PDF, the Word document, there's a drop down and you can switch it. You can convert to PDFX. It allows you that format as part of Word now. But that's the new version. Rob also says I did Majestic Woodland in Word, but I had to have full copy of Adobe Acrobat to get in the format the drive-through wanted. Yeah, they're picky. Terry R says, according to Joe, he used to teach Word to people. Bingo. There you go. He's ultra knowledgeable about it. Zatrin says, Rob Connolly surprised me too. Joe Lawyer's stream. Yeah. Joe Lawyer's another real talented guy when it comes to game design and such. Don't forget the weekly updates. Yeah. We're almost comments, and we got a couple more emails, and we could probably cut it loose because we're going on 9:30. Yes, email me. We'll set up a video call. The Zatrin says, the reason I don't like subscription software is that it's basically paying a company to hold your files hostage if you ever decide to stop paying them. Well, really not. Well, it depends. I keep everything on my own computer. I will not I have nothing on the cloud. Let me back up. The only thing I utilize the cloud in any way, shape, form for is I use Gmail folders, like if me and Eric or Tom or Steve are transferring files. That's all I use. I don't back up my photos. I have my backup on Apple. I don't utilize Apple for that crap. Nothing. I want my shit on my backup drives. That's why I have these guys right here, all my backup drives, because there ain't no way in hell I'm trusting some ethereal entity off somewhere for my
Yeah, and
stuff.
if they get a feather up their butt, then goes your files.
Mr. Gunn, have a good night, my friend.
Night.
Mark Hunt, sir. Mr. Gangbusters is here. Boom. Break out the Chicago typewriter. The man is in the house. Rob Conley says, I own Corel because my maps are my babies, but with it comes Adobe subscription. It's fine. I just deactivate if time gets hard. You can resume when time gets better in project. Absolutely. And then let's see. Oh, and one more big point. Mark Hunt says, I like Affinity. Heck, I did a book layout in Word. Tom, don't you have to get going or something? Hello? Tom is muted.
Whoops. Yeah, I got something coming up. I'm gonna have to bail.
All right, Tom.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Take it easy.
All right, man. You can work with anything if you're dedicated. Okay, I'm going to say something real quick about Mark Hunt. At WizardCon, Mark walks up to me. Let me real quickly do something where I can see better. There we go. Mark Hunt walks up to me and hands me a book that is very well laid out, very professional looking, and says I did it in Word. The man is talented with Word. Yes, he is. Trust me. Mark is right. Rob says you can write off subscriptions at an expense, but one-time purchases are deprecated. Yes, they are. And that's another thing about it is your subscriptions, when you use them for your business, is a tax write-off. And when you're a small business, trust me, you want to take every tax write-off you can. And that's not political. That's just the way it is now. Fooey says I tend to use Photoshop to clean up and sometimes color scans and do some extra drawings. Yes, you can also use Corel Photo Paint. And then Fugly says, many years ago, I used a program called Color It. Oh, I never even heard of that program.
I did in passing, but that's about all.
Gotcha. Corel Draw is awesome. Yes, it is. And I start with wax and a straight eraser. Exactly. Let's see. Freeze feature. Yes, we are. We're very creative twins. I think it's just because what we do is we kind of do the same thing. We both do maps. We both do game layout. We both do game graphics. And I'm sorry, we're just a pair of smart, good-looking guys, right? No one's agreeing? Thanks. John Peck says Inkscape is good from what I've heard. I've heard Inkscape is good. Kira is good for maps. Yes, it is from what I heard. Yes, we're still going, Mr. Block. How are you, sir? We were just talking about you and how you are a word layout expert. I've seen your work. I'm blown away you do that by word. I really am. Great job. Great job. Um, Joe, this is something for the Greyhawk Grognard. This is just a suggestion for you for one of your videos. What you really should do is you should do like because we're getting ready to do our own version of master classes on how to do stuff in Corel. You ought to do a video on how to take a text-based book and lay it out in Word like you do. It would probably help a lot of small creators and such. I think that'd be a pretty good idea. I bet you get a lot of hits on the video too. All right, final emails, and then me and Steve will stop bothering everybody, and life will move on. We have a couple other emails here I want to read about. Tampa Bay, or excuse me, Z100 from Tampa Bay asks a question that's pretty interesting for those of you who are interested in binding and printing. They say, can you talk a bit about those binding machines you see on Amazon for $200? They say they can bind a book with glue and edge soft cover. Are they a good investment? If so, why? And if not, why? All right. What Z100 is talking about is there are some binding machines on Amazon that do perfect binding. What they do is they take a specialized cover. It's a glue strip. You set it in, the glue heats up on the bottom, and then it compresses it, sort of like a standard perfect binding machine, but smaller scale. The problem with those is literally it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to bind one book. So if you're doing something at home, just like a few at a time, they're not bad, but the bindings really suck because in traditional, like in our commercial binding machine, it runs through a machine that has a blade. And what the blade does is it scores the bottom, it roughens up the bottom of the page. And then when it goes through the glue channel, that glue kind of has something to get into. So when the book cover goes over it, it bamps and it clamps, that sets. So for a couple $100, is it worth it? Yes and no. Yes, if you're going to go ahead and you're going to be doing just like, something for friends, family, maybe you got your own little book you want to do. But also keep in mind too, after that book is bound, you have to be able to have a cutter too to trim it. So unless you have also a cutter, a commercial cutter that can cut, a lot of pages cleanly, they're not a very good deal. So it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Mark Hunt, says the most important publishing fail is at marketing. A lot of great products fail in the marketing layout, not layout. Amen. But this man down here, he can throw some words out to get you. This guy's a marketer. Mark Hunt is a marketer. Greyhawk Grognard says, I did a lot of talking about the business side of things in my live stream with Joe the Lawyer. Yes, I saw it. Excellent interview. But man, you should do one on how to lay out using Word, because Word is something a lot of people have. A lot of people don't have InDesign or Corel. And I think it would just be really something really cool that you should do. Daryl Elhert says, just stopped in. Corel's my go-to. Hell yeah. The Zatrin says, did you already cover the machines you're using or print or your own books, Mr. S'more, or your process? The machines. Large format, 12 color digital, cutters. There's a special cut cutter plotter. There is a commercial cutting machine that you can cut like up to 600 pages cleanly. Boom. There is it's a vault thing. It's called a vibrator. It is a table that you put. Oh, you hush your mouth. You actually set your stack of your book on it, and it vibrates and it gets all the book tight and clean. So now you have something very tight that you can trim. We don't have time tonight because we've been on this now for an hour and a half. I think that's a good idea. I might do that just through the Wizard Tower Games. I'll post a link and I'll talk and I'll actually show the equipment. I'll show my equipment for everybody. No problem, Zetron. Don't worry about it. Okay, now, this was for Eric Tenkar, so maybe say this for next week. Eric, if you see this video, I'll share this with you. Maybe you do a video on this. Nebula Queen, no location asks, question for Eric Tenkar. She wants to start vlogging. What is the best camera and other tools I need? My budget less than $100, though I'm not rich. What I use right now is I have a simple webcam. It is, I forget the name of it, but it's a simple $30 webcam and a little mic that I picked up on Amazon, a little clip-on mic. I think I paid $12 for this. So probably between my camera and my mic alone, I probably have 50, $60. And then for this video, I utilize, as does, I know Eric uses it, and I think Tom does, is I use a program called Restream. It's like $20 a month, tons of features. You could do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. So that's what I utilize. I know Eric uses Restream, but I don't know what Eric utilizes for camera and for mic. So I'll turn this over to him and maybe he'll do a short video for you, Nebula Queen. There's another one by a smart aleck that's not anonymous, but we're not even going to give them a light. I'm not interested in giving trolls space. So, but what do you think, Tom or Steve? It's a little late, hour and a half already.
Yeah, probably should pack it in.
Okay. Everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight's video. Tom had to scoot due to little ones. Eric had to scoot because he's got his Discord, his speakeasy, where basically you can just go and chat and talk on video and meet people. Really cool. But seriously, Mark, Greyhawk Grognard, Daryl. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, we got John Peck in here. We got Fugly, Rob Conley, Mr. Gunn, Edward Kopp, oh geez, who have I forgot? TXG, RPG Grandma. Everybody, thank you so very much for tuning in tonight's video. We had a good turnout, a lot of talk. Again, if anybody is interested in applying for a layout specialist position or an editor position, please drop me an email at info at wizardtowergames.com. That's info at wizardtowergames.com. Down below is the email for the Vlog of Many Things. If there's any questions you have for us, if you have ideas for a topic or a game, or not a game, of something you want us to talk about, we're happy to listen to you and such. Steve, long time no chat. I think the last time we talked was 5 minutes before the vlog started? I've known Steve for almost 17 years. We talk every day. We're really good friends, so we always tease each other. But everybody, again, thank you very much for tuning in. Our live stream D&D game will be going live probably. We're probably going to be targeting it maybe as soon as this Sunday. I'm going to get with Eric and Tom tomorrow. Steve is busy. He does not play D&D like a lot, so he cannot commit to a weekly. But maybe Steve might pop in occasionally and play an NPC.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Hope everybody has a good, safe weekend. Remember, like and subscribe on whatever channel you're looking at. It'd be greatly appreciated. At least subscribe. Helps us out. And I am Don, and down below is my friend Steve. On behalf of all of us, have a good weekend, and thank